hope your colour's great. Look at those nails.
Yeah, right.
Red and brown goes together.
Looking back, you can easily find the divas of old doing their own glam. Understanding how far black glamour has come is understanding that the concept of a makeup artist is still fairly new.
In doing my research, I learned as it pertains to black women in music, the idea of a makeup artist is still fairly new. A lot of them were doing their own makeup prior to.
And when you really go old school with it, it was kind of an artist who kind of knew how to do it all. Makeup really is a luxury piece for a lot of performers, or was a luxury piece for performers. Someone like Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, Chaka Khan, Aretha Franklin, they can all do their faces because it wasn't something that was afforded them.
But even still in all of that, their hair was always done.
Now for an eye-opener on women's top question, hair.
I mean, you go to black women have always dealt with their hair. You know, straightening hair and wearing wigs was part of our heritage because you grew up knowing a hairdresser. Mm-hmm. You didn't grow up with knowing about makeup. And that was always something that was very important for black women in general. But I think makeup, because of the lack of products that were, available, and also the level of artistry that knew how to deal with their skin tone, were so few that they just did it themselves.
Looking at our divas throughout history, one thing is consistent: stunning outfits and hair that allowed them to be seen from the back of the stage.
Glamour, it's a personality. I mean, before Aretha knew about makeup, she was wearing gowns. She was very much into fashion. And remember all of the hats that she would wear and the furs. And even when you think of Ross was all about wigs. The Motown movement was about wigs. Makeup came this really, really black brows that were just enough to show up against brown skin. We didn't have different shades, and they didn't have, artists who were, showing them how to do makeup in those days. So they were left to their own devices. So I don't think it was really about makeup. I think it was much more about hair and gowns. They knew that there had to be something extra.
The need for something extra would increase with the rise of MTV and music videos.
This is it. Welcome to MTV Music Television, the world's first 24-hour stereo video music channel.
I entered into the industry working on several music videos. Mary J. Blige, her second single. Deborah Cox, her first single. Faith Evans, her first single. Brandy, her second single, and then to go on, that's how I met Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah was a rapper. Yo-Yo, Light were rapping for I Want to Be Down with Brandy, and they were just at the beginning of being glamorous. But I feel like having a makeup artist at that time was about marketing, was about how much money they understood the MTV era. It was about music videos. Now it wasn't just a voice on a record. You had to be seen. Think about all of the work that went into deciding what Vanessa Williams, a former Miss America, would look like for album packaging. What would her music sound like? So this look had to speak to the sound. When I say that I worked with Mary on Real Love, that was her second single. And when I worked with Brandy on Baby Baby, that was her second single, because at that point they realized that they were going to be successful, and they had to pull in people who would make them look like whatever our expectation as an audience was, whatever fashion was ever going on in fashion, whatever was going on in beauty. Bringing some of that allure to celebrities was part of my job. It's so normal now, but then it wasn't. You had to take a risk. I mean, I don't remember many makeup artists wanting to work with any of these women. So at the beginning, working with a Mary J. Blige, working with Light or Yo-Yo or Salt and Pepper, I don't think that there were many makeup artists who also saw them as clients. But look at them now.
Something else you're credited for, is redefining how glamour presented on itself and, with Black women. There's this picture of Donna Summer and Michael Jackson at the Grammys, and Donna's face is white.
But you have to realize someone like Donna Summer, someone like Patti LaBelle, a certain point in their career, Whitney Houston, all they were introduced to at that level was the top white makeup artists. There were very few of us. What was happening between that time was they only were looking to hire the Vogue stylists, the Vogue artists, the Vogue hairstylists, and sometimes to a Black artist's detriment. I remember doing Deborah Cox for Sentimental, and Brett Ratner hired Didier Milige, a wonderful, amazing hairdresser who had no idea what to do with her hair. We've never seen her hair look like that since, because that was the last time they worked together. But a lot of times people think bringing in the best person is oftentimes bringing in the best white person.
Sam's generation will play a pivotal role in opening opportunities for makeup artists of color and elevating the standard of beauty for Black women in music. Today, his impact is felt more than ever.
Do I see the effect of what I've started in the early 90s? Absolutely. But you also have to realize that many of them have been my assistants. So when I think of Ernesto Casillas, who works with Doja Cat, Adam Burrell does on Jennifer Hudson, these are all artists who subscribe to a look that was born from my era and that I became ultimately famous for. There's always a version of something that I see in where they are today. It's like me working with Janet Jackson. Her former makeup artist, Kevin Aquan, laid the groundwork so beautifully for me to come in and expound upon. So to think that I don't have him to thank for laying that blueprint, come on. To think that I just started with Patti LaBelle fresh of mind. Frank Cooper helped me to see Patti LaBelle's beauty, and I just took it somewhere else. The younger artists, the Nicki Minaj, the Doja Cats, the Lizzos, they're having a lot of fun with makeup, and they're young enough to continue to play in makeup. You think about some of the more mature artists, Adele or even Beyonce now. You don't find them doing such kitschy looks. They had that moment when they were younger, and I think that it's also something, it wears better on youth. And when I'm working with Nancy Wilson or Patti LaBelle or even Queen Latifah, who's 52 years young, I don't think about something that is going to be so outstanding that I can't look back at it in 20 years and still call it beautiful. So it's important to me to be able to look at a music video or an artist and look back at it and remember and still feel that it's as beautiful as the day I created it. I enjoy my classic beauties, and I always say you attract who you are.